Hello friends, you're welcome again to Math Solution. In our today's lesson, we are going to continue from where we stopped in our first lesson. We are talking about how to use perfect square method to solve quadratic equation. In our first lesson, we defined what perfect square is, and I recall telling us that perfect square is any number with even power. So if I write a squared, or I write 3 power say 4 for instance, okay. Now if you check this first number, a squared, this power 2 here, the power is always a number at the top right hand of this a, which is the base, okay. Now this 2 that is here is an even number, therefore a squared will give us a perfect square. Now in the second example, 3 power 4, this means that as long as 4 belongs to the class of even number, the base 3 power 4 is a perfect square. Now another definition of perfect square, based on what I told us in our first lesson, is if I take for instance the square root of a squared. Alright, now this square root means anything I have as the power of the base a, I must divide it by what? 2. So if I cancel this root sign and divide 2 by 2, I'm going to be left with what? A as my final answer. So a is the result of the square root of a power 2. So therefore a power 2 is what? A perfect square. Now if I also take my square root of 3 power 4, don't forget, anytime you see the root sign, okay, we divide whatever we have in the power by 2. So if I cancel this root sign and we divide this 4 by 2, that gives us 2. So 3 squared is the same thing as what? 9, which is a whole number. Alright, so which means that 3 power 4 is a perfect square because its square root gives us 9. Now, with this understanding, I also showed us how we can use the various steps we take in using the perfect square method to solve quadratic equation. Now, let us consider this second example on the board. Here we have 4x squared minus 20x plus 25. Now, how do we know we are to use perfect square method? If we are to use the perfect square method, then the first term and the last term must be a perfect square. I repeat, the first term and the last term must be a perfect square. How do we test if they are to know if they are perfect square? Take this first term, 4x squared, and we get the square root of that. Now the square root of 4 will give us 2, and of course you know what to do here, right? We divide the power here by 2 and that gives us 1, which means we have x power what? 1. So which means the square root of 4x squared is 2x. Let us also go to the last term. Here we have the constant term 25. So the square root of 25, what does that mean? It means a number that multiplies itself 2 times to give us 25. Square root of 25 therefore is 5, because 5 times 5 will give us 25. Alright, so since the first term and the last term gives us a rational number, it means that we can use the perfect square method to solve this. Now we progress to the next step. What is the next step? We test to know how to get the middle term. Don't forget, to get the middle term, it is 2 times the result here and the result here. So I will take, in the next step, I will write 2 times 2x times 5. Now let us see if we multiply this, is going to give us our what? 20x. So 2 times 2 is 4x. 4x times 5 will give us 20x. So since this 20x tallies with our 20x here, it means that this is a perfect square. Therefore, we can summarize this solution, 4x squared minus 20x plus 25, to be equals to, we open our bracket. Always do this whenever you are using this method, because this is a factorization method, okay? Now we take the first number here, which is what? 2x, write the sign of the middle number, which is minus, and then we write our 5. There you have it, friends. That's the solution to the problem on the board. I believe you've been able to follow these steps and you've understood what I have just taught you. Please don't forget to like, share, and also subscribe. See you in our next video.